Fantasy Six-Pack Hour with your hosts, Joe Bob and AJ Applegarth.
Welcome to the Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. My name is Joe Bond, founder of FantasySixPack.net. With me, as usual, Mr. AJ Applegarth. Welcome back from your trip.
Thank you. Decided to dress up for the occasion, wear my nice fantasy. That would help if I did the same. Fantasy Six-Pack polo.
And down below us is I can't. This is weird. Mr. DapScout.
How's it going, guys? Great to have you back, AJ.
Good.
Thank you. Good to be back.
All right. So tonight we're going to be jumping into a fun topic where we're going to call ourselves out. What did we miss? What did we get wrong? Where did we suck this draft season? Why did we miss? And really, probably the important question from this point going forward is, do we see there being any sort of either turnaround if the player has performed poorly, or if they're performing well, do we see it continuing? Like, how do you deal with this information that we're going to give you here? So before we jump into all that, though, make sure you hit that subscribe button, that like button, wherever you follow or listen. Leave those 5-star reviews. We appreciate it. And, of course, jump over to FantasySixPack.net, become an all-access member, where you get access to the award-winning rankings. You get access to all of us on Discord, where you get to ask your custom league questions. And we've got DFS projections. We've got DFS advice every day from Dave Eddy and Chris Robin and all that kind of good stuff. And then our football stuff is jumping out here soon, so where we're going to have our draft cheat sheet, our rankings there as well. So jump on over there. Right now, we are offering a 2-week free trial to get access to all of that, so you don't have to pay a thing to just kind of go for a test drive there and see if you like it. We think you will. So, all right, guys, you ready to jump into this?
Absolutely.
Do it.
All right. So, first man up here, and I guess I should bring up the presentation. I was apparently super ready for this. First man up on the what we missed. We've got to start there, right? Corbin Carroll, Arizona Diamondbacks. We've talked about him a few times this season, and it was always like, it's got to turn around. He's too good, right? He's too good. It's got to. Yeah, I don't know anymore. It's not looking good. So what we've done here, for those of you watching, we've got the 2024 projections up, and he was projected to have 22 home runs, 101 runs, 45 stolen bases, hit for a good 278. A very, very good season. Maybe not as good as last season, but still a very, very good season, right? Off to a horrific start here. Just 2 home runs through I don't know how many games we're at right now, but 2 months basically, right? So 2 months, He's got 2 home runs. He has only stolen 9 bases, and he's actually been caught 4 times. So batting 192, just can't seem to kind of get it going here. Dap, I'll let you lead the way here, man. What is the deal with Corbin Carroll? What did we miss? How did we miss that he was going to be quite this bad, along with everybody else, right?
I think and so it was always, there was the one thing that we were kind of talking about, but we kind of were, putting it under the rug during our previews and all that stuff, was the fact that, he got hurt, and we're like, oh, well, as long as he's over the injury, right? But, he doesn't look like he's having any problems there whatsoever, blah, blah, blah. That was kind of our little snippet. Everything else, we were like, man, he's going to play a full season, stolen bases. He could hit, who knows, whatever, 90, and we also were looking at the fact that he was injured maybe his power numbers are going to go up. There are so many things to be optimistic about. I am beyond confused at this time. There hasn't even been like a hot streak that I could hang my hat on and be like, yeah, there he was. You know, he just needed to tinker. There's been nothing positive that I've seen. And we've talked to multiple kind of people that cover the Diamondbacks and do different things. And yeah, they're really scratching their heads as well. I mean, is it a matter if he needs to, you know, be on the IL, where I put that in quotes, where, you know, if nothing's wrong with him, but he just needs like a breather for a while? Or I don't know. I mean, to even think about the fact that he might have to get sent down, he's terrible. That's all there is to it.
And you found a pretty good tweet here, and I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to zoom in a little bit because otherwise it's going to be really hard to read on the screen here. But you brought up you found a good tweet here. So you mentioned the injury, right? And so the shoulder injury that everybody talks about happened late June last year. I want to say like June 28th or something like that. So very late June. So this tweet from @MannyBN Manning33. Corbin Carroll since July 1st, 2023, 135 games, 503 at-bats, 10 home runs, 52 RBI, 83 runs, and 38 stolen bases. Batting 241, 322, 376 slash line, just a 698 OPS. That's not great. That's not what we were paying. What, top 3, 4 draft capital for this year?
I mean, people were arguing, you know, is that a first overall? You know, it just was one of those things. What were you gonna put him? Look, Asturi Ruiz last year did 90. So he did 254 average. Okay, so slightly better than him. 47 runs scored, 47 RBIs, so right in that ballpark, and 47 runs scored. Well, he's with the A's, so I'm going to give that one a slide. I mean, we're looking at Asturi Ruiz numbers, and everybody, you know, was talking about, you know, Ruiz, you drafted, or, you know, he should be your fourth outfielder. You're getting Asturi Ruiz for first round price right now. That's just crazy. There's got to be something wrong with him. That's my hope. He was too fun to watch. I think he has too much talent. I hope this isn't who he is.
I think one of the things that made me still consider him a top pick, and I knew some of the struggles because I had him last year in a league. I knew some of the struggles in the second half. You know, after the shoulder injury, he did struggle. He played well in the playoffs. I mean, he was fantastic.
Yep.
So you're like, oh, all right, he's good, right? I mean, AJ, you seem to be agreeing, right? I mean, that's what made me think like he's over this, right? It was just kind of like he figured it out, and then you give him a whole offseason to rest it and rehab it. He had to be fine, and he crushed in the spring.
Yeah,
like,
I mentioned it before a few weeks ago, you know, about him specifically in the playoffs against the Phillies, because that's when I paid way more attention to him. He wasn't running at first. I mean, none of the Diamondbacks really were, but then they realized, oh, well, we got to do this. And it started with him. Like, once he got that, you know, confidence back and stole the first base, like, he took off again. And that's part of what, you know, led to the Phillies' downfall in that series. And I agree. I thought that he was kind of out of it, like going into the playoffs, like, okay, he's past these issues now. You know, I wasn't fortunate enough to have any shares of him last year, but I still paid attention to him. I tried trading for him in a couple leagues. Did not happen. Even when he was on his downslope. And, you know, I think maybe this is who he is, or maybe, you know, the pitchers, you know, we talk about how he had a whole off season to kind of figure things out and keep going and keep growing. Well, the pitchers have a whole off season too to figure him out. And I feel like that's part of what we were seeing. But I just don't know. I don't know what is up with him right now. If this is like, you know, the true sophomore slump coming into play here, it's really what it looks like. And it's a shame because he is a talented player, and I I'm pulling for him, even though he's a Diamondback, but I'm pulling for him to turn it around because he's just too talented from what we saw from last year.
So I guess the question now is, if you have Corbin Carroll on your roster, like, what are you doing with him? Because nobody's buying him at this point, right?
Right. So in season long, right, you got to hold on to him because you probably paid way too much. You can't cut. I mean, can you cut him? Honestly,
Dude,
are we to the Corbin Carroll? Are we to the Corbin Carroll could be cut?
Is Tyler O'Neill, Chad. Oof. I don't know. It's like, at some point, like, is it better to go grab somebody off the waiver wire and just not worry about this guy, like dragging down your batting average, not giving you any power, and he's not stealing bases? I mean, I know, like, as soon as you drop him, you're afraid he's gonna like just go off.
That's it.
It's been
well, I mean,
2 freaking months, like, and we've seen nothing, no signs of life from him in 2 months.
All right, well, let's take Corbin Carroll's name out your mouth for a second, Will Smith style. If you drafted somebody in the first round, how long do you wait before it's acceptable to drop them?
Yeah, I mean, typically I don't. I mean, and I get
it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, if somebody actually drops him, I don't think I personally could, but if somebody does actually drop him, I really wouldn't be. I wouldn't go, oh my God. I mean, I think the shock value is just, oh man, Corbin Carroll actually got dropped, but it wouldn't be like, oh, that was dumb, right?
Well, would you pick him up?
I don't think I was. For free? Yeah. I mean, to replace the back end guy on my bench? Absolutely.
Exactly. And see, that's what I'm saying, right? Like, if you drop him, but I'm just flipping it for a second, right? If you drop him, you're saying that everything else on your roster is better than Corbin Carroll's upside.
Yeah.
But if Corbin Carroll gets dropped, I am picking him up like in 2 seconds. Just because. For free? Why not?
I'm sitting on the number 1 waiver in my one league, so I'm just waiting. I'm like, who should I pick up? Who should I pick up? And it's of course it's an ESPN league, my only ESPN league left, and I never really pay that much attention to who's already been being dropped because it's a pain in the ass to find it now. So I'm probably gonna miss something, or I already have, but I would pick them up in a heartbeat. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'd take a chance. So let's move on to our next myth. And this one is more on me than anybody, but I'm going to call myself out here. Mr. Gunnar Henderson. Look, I thought he was going to be fine. Like, just fine. I mean, and the projections kind of backed me up on that. 87 runs, 82 RBI, 26 home runs, 260 batting average. It was okay. He was going to like pick 32. I was like, nah. For that,
you're still like numbers, that was overvalued.
Yeah, I remember that. You're still like, I wouldn't do it. Not doing
it. It wasn't top 3 pick numbers for me. Because I was skeptical of the power, and oh my God, has he proved me wrong in that some 19 bombs already. Every time I look at the Orioles box score, I look up Orioles highlights, it's like, oh, Gunnar Henderson led off with another home run. It's like, oh my gosh, okay. This make me look even more stupid. Great, thank you, man. And go O's. I mean, batting average is spot on, 261, 264, right there. He is destroying it and everything else. Already has 8 steals on the year. I mean, this guy is. I mean, if he could get his batting average up, I mean, we're looking like him and Judge and Soto MVP leaders right now in the American League, man. So it's looking pretty damn good for Gunnar Henderson. I mean, look, I just basically didn't believe the power was real. Like, I always thought he was this kind of a mediocre power hitter. I know a lot of people believe the power was legit, and it was coming sooner rather than later. I wasn't one of those. Just nothing in his repertoire, really screamed to me that he was going to be this kind of power hitter. And I don't know, like, to me, and I don't know if anybody else thought that but it doesn't really matter. I guess, AJ, like, if you have Gunnar Henderson, do you just think he's going to continue to ride this hot streak and be this good the rest of the year? Or would you be willing to, like, sell high on him a little bit?
Me personally, it'd be hard to sell high because of my O's fandom, but he has definitely exceeded my expectations as well. I thought, like you, he was going to be, good, but he was overpriced. I don't see that right now because the power is crazy. The average is like the only projection that is somewhat in line right there. I mean, OBP is close, but it's still low.
OPS 948. Wow.
I mean,
that's incredible.
That's incredible. Yeah, like he's gonna be. Yeah, I do feel like there's probably some regression built into this, ready to come, but I don't think I'm selling him. I mean, I'd love to try to get him. But
Savant page, man, all the red. It's just red's good if we want to remind everybody, right? It's oh my goodness, like so good.
These stupid grays, they're out of place.
Look at that spray chart too. I mean,
that's crazy.
He literally hit it everywhere.
He just doesn't care. He's like, you know what? I haven't hit it to like mid left center in like 2 weeks. I think I'm just going to crash one there. And he can. Like, he just seems to have really crazy command of where he's hitting the balls, and that's what you want. That's what you want in a baseball player. Like, how many times are we watching games of our teams being like, come on, just get a damn hit. Just get a hit. Like, right there's a huge hole. Well, he seems to find these holes, and it's just very impressive to watch. But I can see the power kind of slowing down. I don't remember off the top of my head if they've what their splits are right now. I know they're like 3 or 4 games
he's on pace for
shorter than the Yankees right now.
Yeah, they are.
So that's like they're going to have more games to catch up and whatnot too. But I don't recall if they've played more home away and what those splits are.
I don't know either.
But I don't think it matters. I mean, this dude's just raking right now. If you have someone in your league that's ready to like part ways, I would go for it.
You're going to have to get one hell of a package to take him off my hands if I had him.
Yeah.
But I don't, because I was not in on him at all. So not his draft cost. So yikes.
So hold on a second. I have a wait before we get to the question. I have something for you guys.
I wasn't the only one. Chad, thank you.
Oh. Well, whatever makes you feel better about yourself, Joe. So here's my question: first off, he's hit more home runs at home, 12, than he has away, 7, which is one of the reasons why we were kind of down on him, right? We're thinking, but the other part is too. Well, he only hit 1 home run against lefties, by the way. But right now, would you take in Dynasty? Because this is why I think this is crazy. Acuna or Henderson? Because this would have been a no-brainer. Like, that would have been a no-brainer.
That would have been an easy choice
in the offseason. But
obviously,
now you have to, regardless of how you answer, you have to think about it.
I still think I'm going, like, just 1 for 1. I'm not worried about, like, team,
just
like,
1 for 1.
If you're competing or not. Just true value, it's still Acuna for me.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Even with the injuries and all that stuff, you're still going Acuna?
Yeah.
I'm out. I'm out on Acuna. I think this latest injury is just another in a sequence, for him, and it sucks because again, super talented outfielder, but I feel like you can find outfield like Gunnar is at a more needy position,
premium position. At this point,
for me, that's my go-to. So.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know what I'd do. I'm just being honest. I don't know what I'd do. I think I'm still leading Acuna, but I don't know. But I just thought about that, and I'm thinking to myself, that was such an automatic the offseason.
Oh, yeah.
Now I'm like,
it is definitely a lot closer. I'm still slightly leaning Acuna, But yeah, I mean, Gunnar has made his case.
Yeah,
For sure. It's one of those. It's tough. I think, Chad, you basically just said the word out of my mouth here. Gunnar's lack of ceiling makes this really tough. So I think Acuna's ceiling is far and away higher than Gunnar's at this point.
Sure.
And so that's where the tiebreaker is for me. And that's perfect. So we do have a question though. I want to get to it. MP31 here on YouTube. Yanir Diaz or Francisco Alvarez?
Yeah, it's Diaz by a mile.
Yeah, I'm going Diaz. Alvarez.
I mean, the Mets are a mess, and so of course that's going to affect runs and RBIs. And on top of that, though, I mean, even without that, I like all his other stats way better. He's a guy who also could go first base. So there's just a lot of places for them to give him rest. Diaz by a mile. It's not even now. Dynasty, different story. But right now, season long, Diaz all day long.
Yeah. All right, let's move on here to the next guy we missed on. Dap, you have the floor here. Luis Gil.
Yeah, so Luis Gil, I mean, he was slated to be a spot starter until people got healthy in the Yankees rotation. And we're like, and we even called that on the waiver wire show, right? We're like, maybe 2-3 starts at most. And then he was putting up some numbers. We're like, ooh, those walks look bad. He's definitely going to regress. Any minute now, he's regressing. And that didn't happen and hasn't happened. I mean, yes, the walks are scary, 4.4 walks per 9. But who cares when you walk out? Like when you strike out everybody and they're scared to stand in the batter's box because they don't know where the ball's going. I mean, 11 Ks per 9. Give me a break. I mean, and
I love this tweet that you found. I'm going to put it up here.
Yeah.
Best 12 game start by a Yankee in the last 40 seasons. Luis Gil leading the way here. Like,
Michael Pineda, cheater.
Smokes.
Nestor Cortez, great mustache. Jimmy Key, don't even know who that is. Tanaka. Okay.
But, and we do have a comment here, which is great, like Nestor 2.0. I mean, Nestor gets away with not having necessarily the stuff all the time, right? He gets it with changing eye levels and all that stuff. Gil is just, I don't know. I don't know how he missed it with him. I mean, just, it's crazy. Gil's we're talking Cy Young. I mean, we're talking top 5 Cy Young right now.
It really came down to, this one really came down to, he didn't have a locked in spot in the rotation. I mean, you said it. I mean, that's where the hesitation came from. Like, if we knew he was like the number 3 starter, he probably would have been picked up in a lot more places. He would have been drafted. Take pitchers on the Yankees. You expect wins a lot of times, right? You thought, you're right. As soon as they get healthy, he was gone. I think. I kind of wonder, like the one thing I would say for him, right, is like how far is he gonna go? Does he have an innings limit? I don't know.
I think we covered that too, right? He has an innings limit as well. I need to pull that up now.
So the most he's pitched in any major league season is 29, but he added 48, and so almost like 40-ish innings.
So it's only 70, so 20% is another, so roughly about 100.
He's gonna have a cap here. So honestly, he's the type of pitcher where like you might be wanting to move off of him. I know he's legit, but he's going to get capped in innings here at this point. I have no doubt about it. I don't know how he doesn't.
I can't imagine that. There's not. I mean, I would think the Yankees would want to try to limit him like throughout the summer a little bit. Maybe skip a start here or there, like something like that, because they're going to need him for the playoffs if they're going to maintain, what they've done so far as one of the top 2 teams, in baseball.
Well, remember they're getting back in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, sorry to break in on there, AJ, but there's a great quote here by Aaron Boone, right? So they were saying 69.1 innings right now, coming off essentially 2 lost seasons because of Tommy John surgery. Aaron Boone said that the structure of Gill's workload is kind of play it by ear, but there's no strict limits, as there were once upon a time with Java Chamberlain. I don't agree. I mean, like you said, I think after the All-Star break, it's going to be super dicey. But who the hell knows?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was Chad here. You know, they could easily go to a 6-man rotation with Cole back. I get that, and it's very possible. You know, just keep these guys healthy. Cole's coming back from the injury, so you know, kind of ease him in. Don't try to push him too hard. It would probably make sense, and it would extend Gill's time as a starter. You just gotta wonder, like, I mean, he's already 70 innings. His most is like 80 to 100, so he's gonna go what, another like 50 or 60. So he's got another like 12 starts. I mean, that's gonna get him to like what do we think? That's August.
Yep.
If he stays on around the same pace, that's gonna hurt toward the end of the season for somebody who's got Gill. And I mean, maybe you just ride it, right? Because you know you're not gonna get the stats from him if you think he's gonna continue at this pace. You just ride it until it just ends.
If you're,
don't
well,
get somebody else that benefit.
Well, that's the thing, right? If you're in season long, you just ride it until the wheels fall off. Because honestly, if you drop him, like, oh, it's gonna happen. You're not gonna guess.
Drop. I'm saying trade, right? But
right.
I think it's different in like a rotisserie league.
Yeah.
I think you just ride it.
Yep.
Innings fall off. Like, oh well, I got all those innings and you didn't. Haha. Right. In like a head-to-head league where you're going into like playoffs.
Yeah.
That might be one where I'd be looking to trade and get something, because yes, you need to make the playoffs, but you want to be there with somebody like a Gill, and you probably won't have a Luis Gill in the playoffs for your fantasy league because he will get capped. So, AJ, I muted you for a second, so I think we're sounding better. But
yeah,
all right, let's move on here. Next guy up, Shota Imanga. I butchered that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But yeah, we all were excited about Yamamoto, and he sort of got forgotten. And we were wrong. He's been the better of the two so far. So projections were mediocre at best for him. You know, like 4.25 ERA, 500 record. Strikeouts weren't like crazy high or nothing, basically 9, which is kind of where he's at. But
right.
Man, a 1.88 ERA, a 1.04 whip. I mean, just not walking hardly anybody. This guy is pitching lights out. Was it just we just had blinders on because everybody was so excited about Yamamoto and the huge contract, and he went to the Dodgers, or what? Like, how did we miss? I mean, I'll be perfectly honest with you. That's kind of what it was with me. I was just kind of like, whatever. Like, he's the other guy.
So I went to the tape actually when we did the manga. I'm gonna say Shota, okay? We went to the tape and I said, hey, this guy's interesting. However, does he have better stuff than his countryman who went to the Dodgers? And more importantly, does he have strikeout stuff? That was the part that I couldn't see anywhere. And I didn't think he was going to bring this, 9.4 Ks per 9. I didn't think that was possible. But he was interesting, but everything we read, it was like, how's he going to get big league hitters out and, all that stuff. This is crazy. I mean, in my wildest dreams, I was going to say 7 Ks per 9, maybe 8, but 9. I mean, he's overpowering hitters It's disgusting. It's so he's a big bully. He's mean. He needs to be put, on a higher difficulty mode. I completely whiffed on him, and the reason why I was rubbing my eyes is because 3 different drafts, I was like, oh, I have a chance to get him. Yeah, I'll go with somebody else. And this is like, round 9 or 8 or whatever. And if I had him right now, oh my God, I'd be so much better off in some of those leagues that I was.
Oh yeah, considering pitching died this year for everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I visually can pick the time I had a chance to pick him right before he went. And each time I decided not to go with him.
Yeah, I mean, he just was not on the radar for me in pretty much any draft. When his ADP was called up, he was nowhere near the top of my board, and so I never pulled the trigger. I mean, that's pretty much that. The projections do the talking for me on him because I really didn't know much about him, and that's just perfectly honest. I need to look into these pitchers that are coming over a little bit closer. That's a huge lesson learned from me, is really dive into these guys. It's hard though. There's just not a lot. And I think I remember like when we talked big on the Yamamoto and like, is he worth that? Like, I mean, like SP 7 or 6, off the board. And I just remember looking at some of like the pitchers that have come over, and like the best season ever. And I remember we got called out like, oh, you had to go all the way back to something like, yeah, that was kind of the point, right? The fact that like it hasn't happened in 20 years. We haven't had a good enough season to be worth a top 10 starting pitcher pick in 20 years, right? And so like that was.
I remember that
point.
now.
It doesn't happen very often, and so Yamamoto isn't quite. He's doing just fine, by the way, but like he still isn't worth a top 10 SP pick, starting pitcher pick, in my opinion.
Yeah,
but Shota was. Who knew?
I missed out on him as well, and I kind of had blinders on. I tried to force myself into thinking this isn't showy. Like, it's not the next Ohtani. It's, just chill down. Like, you don't need to go after this guy. There's only one Ohtani. And yeah, Yamamoto's great too, but he's on the Dodgers. He's going to get picked. So, and he went, and I was like, all right, well, I missed the next showy. And then I just totally forgot about Shota. And I was like, all right.
Yeah, pretty much.
Whoops.
Pretty much. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm just along for the ride with him. I'm not worried about trading him. I'm not doing anything with him. Like, just keep it. I don't see any reason why it's gonna drop off. Honestly, I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I don't see where it's going to drop off. But at the same time, too, hitters are going to get more tape on him. He's getting more and more tape, and I'm going to be really interested to see what happens after the All-Star break.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to finish the season with a 1.88 ERA. Like,
oh no,
insane. But
hold on.
Even if he finishes with a 2.5, it's still going to be really good.
Still really good.
Okay, Mike, I want you to take that sound bite. He's not going to. Because it's going to be interesting to me if he just absolutely destroys it.
Gonna finish with a 1.5.
Yeah, exactly. 1.8.
He was right.
Let's move on here.
Yeah.
AJ, I'm afraid to put this guy up on the board because I think we'll never end the show, but
probably not.
Ranger Suarez. The best pitcher for
That's
the Phillies.
I'm gonna leave for a bit. I'll be back.
Yeah.
Better than Wheeler and better than Aaron Nola, although I'm not shocked about that one. We all know my hatred for Aaron Nola.
All right.
Yeah,
question of the day,
Suarez
part
has
1.
just been incredible.
Question of the day, part 1. Which Phillies player do you hate more, Shane Victorino or Aaron Nola?
You should also hate Shane Victorino, AJ.
That was a hard series for me to take.
Yeah, yes and no. For those of you who don't know the story, I'll tell it really quick. So first year we played in the Fantasy 6-pack, like we call it the OG League now. Back in 2016.
At least, yeah.
I had actually, man, no, 2013.
No, it was
because it was the birth of my daughter. And
1997.
I was like,
Go ahead.
I didn't know, I didn't know how my time management was going to be. So I was like, AJ, we're going to start this league, but I need a co-manager because I didn't know if I was going to be able to like pay attention. No clue, right? So we're co-managing this team. We're absolutely destroying the league that year. First seed by a mile. We get into the playoffs, semifinals. We go against one of my coworkers, and he's loaded in pitching, but his batting sucks. So I'm like, we got this. Like, we're good all around. Yeah. He picks up Shane Victorino like 2 weeks before that. It's a 2-week final. It's a 2-week playoff head-to-head matchup. Shane Victorino went off for like 6 home runs, like 20 RBI, 15 runs, like 4 stolen bases, and like a 450 average. That like, wow. I don't even think I'm exaggerating that, AJ. Like, no, I really think that's like close.
It's pretty close.
I did the math. It was in 2 weeks against us. He put up 1/3 of his complete season stats that season against us, and so forever, it's a running joke that I now hate Shane Victorino. So, yeah.
Well, AJ, before you get into this love fest, I just want to understand this real quick. He had a 4.18 ERA last year. 4.6. I mean, were you really expecting this? I mean, I'm asking. I know you're a Phillies lover.
No,
I just want. Okay.
No, the big like bugaboo about it was that Rangers never really had a full off season or a full spring training or like both. And that was always the knock, that he was always coming into the season, with some sort of injury or something was going on. And, he never really got to participate in a full, off season and spring training. And this was the first year that he did. The Suarez just, the best word that I can think of is unflappable, because it's a fun word to say and it fits. Like, you cannot shake this guy on the mound. Like, he could give up a grand slam and just be like, okay, whatever, and then just go back and like strike out the rest of the game, like everybody that's up. Like, he's just so calm, cool, collected out there. And even when he was injured a couple weeks ago on that comebacker, hit him in the wrist, he like took a minute to be like, like do his best Peter Griffin impression on the mound, still goes, picks the ball up and throws the guy out. Like, it was kind of like an air ball over to Harper, but then he's like, oh yeah, okay, I guess I'm hurt. Let me go back to this for a second. And then he comes out of the game, and like, that sucked, because I have a ton of shares of Suarez. That was my main go-to for this year, because I knew I wasn't going to get Wheeler unless I drafted him in the first or early second. Nola I've got in a couple places too, and kind of had to reach on him because they're homer leagues. So I just wanted to get more shares of Suarez, knowing that he finally had the chance to put it all together. I did not expect this to be what happens when he puts it all together.
Well, I will say, like, he's had this, like, I remember after 2021, like, he was kind of a big deal in 2022, and because he was coming off, like, they put him in as a starter that year for a little bit, and he had a 1.5 ERA that season. Like, he was really, really good. And then when he was like the full-time starter, it was like, oh, just kidding. He was just a flash in the pan. So everybody was off on him, right? And now, we're looking at this, right? The Phillies 1, 2, 3 starting pitching trio makes me want to puke.
And Nola's sitting there at a 3.03, and it's like, okay, like, I'll take that any day, like, for most pitchers. And this is kind of where I was looking at our original topic that I came up with tonight, or not original, but one of the thoughts. And it was like a complete homer show. I didn't know how it was going to go, but just based
AJ
on...
wanted to have a whole show about the Phillies pitching staff. Just
mostly, but not all of them.
I'm going to be sick that day. I'm sorry.
Exactly. I'm just going to be on StreamYard by myself. It's not even going to be, not even going to be aired. It's just going to be me talking in a room, thinking that I'm on a show. But
when you typically see somebody make these kind of improvements, it's because they get a third pitch, because typically the third time through the rotation. But Suarez has always thrown everything. He has 5 pitches. He doesn't throw any one of them more than a third of the time. Typically, he's had a huge arsenal. I mean, did he just figure it out? I don't know. I'm trying.
Are you selling high on him, Dap? AJ, you don't count. I'm not letting you answer. Are you selling high on him, Dap?
No, because pitching sucks so bad right now.
Yeah, right. I hear you.
I mean, it's just a situation, and he's so good right now.
It's so hard to replace somebody who's performing like this in your pitching staff.
Even
if he's like craters the rest of the way, like you're going, well, oh well.
Yeah.
I mean, even if he does league average, oh no, like where are you going to get that from? And he's
it's hard.
Yeah. So that tweet that you just put up was, and it's not even old. It's from yesterday, but Nola started yesterday, and he's now actually at a 277 and is 8-2 in 84 and a third innings pitched. So looking back at we already talked about Shota, we've kind of touched on Wheeler, but like sorry, not Wheeler, the AL pitchers, Gill, you're looking at Seth Lugo sitting at a 213, and he's 4th in the AL. The National League,
85 years old.
Yeah. The National League pitchers, 4 of the top 6 are Phillies. We're not even talking about Christopher Sanchez in this tweet, and he's sitting there ahead of Nola at 271. Granted, he's 3-3.
And Turnbull should be up in there, but they put him back in the pen.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he would have been if he would have qualified for it at this point, but he's not.
Like, I don't know.
It's because they're freaking paying stupid Taiwan Walker too much damn money. But he's not even. I mean, Taiwan's probably the 6th best starting pitcher on this team, if that. So yeah, I did not expect this. We can end the love fest as Dap had put it, but
thank God. Oh, sorry,
it's phenomenal. Yeah,
MacKenzie Gore, once highly touted prospect, now with the Nationals. Projections were not kind to him, and rightfully so. I mean, the guy's just been league average at best.
Way to be quiet about it, AJ. Wait I love how
I know he's hiding behind the camera.
That's my new Bermuda.
He's really come around. I mean, the whip is a little high at 1.36, but he's had some really good games lately too. So that's, I mean, what's your kind of take on him?
Right.
This year and the rest of the year, right?
So this is easy for me because I talked about him during the waiver wire show last week. So I could, the thing about him, right, is that he had huge K numbers, especially, in the first couple of years when he was a, top pick, top 3 pick, third overall. And he was striking out 14 Ks per 9, 10 Ks per 9, 12 Ks per 9. Mm-hmm. And his walk started creeping up. It was like, 2.95, which is fine if you're striking out 14 people. Then it went to 3. And then in 2021, it went up to 7. And we're like, wait. Because he got injured in 2020, right? And in 2021, he starts, okay, so AA, 16 Ks per 9, then 8, walked for 9. Ooh. Then he gets to AAA, he gets completely exposed, right? He does only 8 Ks and 5 walks per 9. And so we're like, okay, this guy doesn't have any control. And then he gets traded in that CJ deal to the Nationals, along with the man who later would not sign a long-term pick with the Padres, with Soto, and he started to still look crappy because he was, we went to Washington. He went to 10 Ks per 9, and then he was like high 3s. He was almost 4. This year, he kind of continued. He's really found himself. He's like Luis Skill. He's really kind of figured out, like, hey, I can still strike out a ton of people, and I'm gonna somewhat be around 3 Ks per 9, but he's not giving up that homer. He's below 1 homer per 9 innings.
3 walks per 9, you mean?
No, just 1 homer per 9.
You said Ks per 9.
Oh, sorry.
3 Ks per 9.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm sorry.
Make sure.
Three walks per 9. My apologize. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I apologize.
Okay.
And I don't know how sustainable this is, but if you're not giving up the home run balls, which was a big Achilles heel for him, his xERA is only at 0.2, like a quarter of a run higher. I love everything about what I'm seeing here. I don't trust it. Like, it's one of those.
The whip being kind of high again is sort of like, he has these like really nasty blow up games, and he had one just a couple of days ago against the Mets of all teams. I mean, he goes on these hot streaks, man, where it's like, oh man, this is good, and then boom, 6 earned runs against the Mets. You're like, never mind.
And 4 walks and 4 innings.
He's got it in him to be able to pull out these, 6-7 inning games, 1 earned run, and 8 Ks, like he did against Seattle just a couple weeks ago. Like that is definitely in the realm of possibilities for him.
Right.
I think he's rosterable in a lot of leagues.
And
I think against your much tougher offenses, I would sit him. If he gets blown up by the Mets, that's not an offense I'm scared about, but it happens with pitchers like that.
Nor should you
be. Not the elite yet.
Yeah.
So,
Joe, you don't have his Fangraphs page up or anything, do you? No, I don't want you to have it.
Fangraphs? I do.
Or just whatever. You don't have. Do you have his details page up at all?
No.
I just want to make sure you don't, because I'm going to ask you a question.
Looking at game log.
All right, good. How old do you think MacKenzie Gore is?
He's in his 3rd season in the majors, but he was in the minors for a while. I do know that.
And he got injured 3 times.
I'm gonna go 26.
Really? I was thinking 28. He's 25.
Okay.
So
I was gonna say 26 too.
Because you forget he was drafted out of high school.
Yeah,
and
that's what I was thinking was the high school.
Yeah, 25 years and 3 months. So it's not even close to 26 yet. He's still got a ways to go.
Okay.
So, you can definitely still turn it around. He's got all the talent in the world, but you got to watch those walks because, 4 walks in 4 innings against major league hitters is not going to work. I don't care how cruddy the team is. Even the A's could beat you at that.
Let's jump back to the AL. And this was one that, he wasn't a huge draft target for me, but I think the situation has drastically changed for Cedric Mullins.
Right.
Projections did like him. I'll be honest with you. A 20 home run, 28 stolen base guy. He honestly, it's weird because he could still get there, but he's now unfortunately finding himself sitting a lot of games. The Orioles are starting to pull up some of their prospects, and so they're platooning. And when you're batting 178, which is what he currently is doing, you're going to sit a bunch. But 6 home runs, 12 stolen bases. He gets on a little hot streak. You could get those counting stats, but the rest of it's sort of just not really there for him this year. I don't even know. I don't have him anywhere. I don't if he was sitting on the waiver wire, I don't know what I would do with him. I'd look at him and be like, it's a slightly better Corbin Carroll. Do I care? Without the upside?
Is this what I need? Yeah,
slightly right. Slightly better Corbin Carroll without the massive ceiling of Corbin Carroll, right? Am I wrong?
No, sadly, no. I mean sadly in multiple ways there. Mullins was a guy that I had looked at as a potential keeper in a couple of leagues, and I couldn't do it. I had to throw him back because last year was okay, but it wasn't enough for me to want to see what he had. And it was hard, A, for fandom, B, because he's in such a good lineup, but this is what what the worry is with him is just all of these prospects. I knew at some point someone's going to lose their job. And when you're hitting 178, like you said, that's not really ringing endorsement for you should be on the lineup card every day.
He's only played twice in the last 6 games.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they're
it's
playing
brutal.
Austin Hayes more than him right now. It's
I think
direction.
Yeah, like you're still going to be able to get some of these counting stats, like you said. Maybe on a day that he plays, he's going to get a homer, but I don't know. Like, really, the only thing I would be counting on from him is a steal or two. Like that's about it. But he's not a guy I want to roster because of the inconsistency with playing time right now, and without actually keeping him in the lineup, I'm not sure how he's going to turn it around and get the enough opportunity to really crank that batting average up and prove that he's still a viable, talent for this team. They just have so much talent as it is that, it's an easy bench.
Yeah, I had called that they were going to trade him this year because he seemed like the guy that was making too much money, and they probably want to get a young guy in there. But I thought they're going to trade him for assets, not try to get rid of him because he's terrible.
Yeah,
I didn't expect this kind of drop off, and I don't know. I think he's still kind of in a bench, maybe for if his playing time picks up a little bit.
Guess this is one way to get on to stay in the lineup. Just hurt your players, hurt your
team. So I think this is
had to exit today after Cedric Mullins accidentally hit him with that.
So we talk
about
an
accident?
Was it
an accident?
We talk about him not getting hits, and he's getting some big hits here off the thing. So
off of Mateo's face.
Oh my goodness!
What did Louisville Slugger say to the face?
We're gonna finish things off here with, and I'm gonna lump them together. I don't have the slides together because it was too much information. But Marcell Ozuna and his teammate Matt Olson. Needless to say, Matt Olson was drafted much higher than Marcell Ozuna. We knew Ozuna had power, but it's Marcell Ozuna, right? So you didn't quite know what you were getting with batting average. Was he going to play enough to really be a good player to roster in fantasy? There was no speed, still no speed, but the guy is smashing the ball right now. 17 home runs, a 309 batting average. So there, with that logic, that you can't hit for average, right?
Right.
53 RBI right now, just insane numbers. And then the guy who led the National League in home runs last year, Matt Olson, was projected for 40, only has 9, and he's batting .234. So he's doing kind of what we thought Ozuna would do, maybe with even just a little less power. How did we get this one wrong, Dap?
I think some of it was, I don't know. I think, well, first off, we wanted to be part of the Braves offense. We expected that to take off. And Olson, for me, everybody who's in Oakland A that ends up on the Braves ends up, just being amazing. So I thought for sure. But maybe we missed some of the, age-related issues, some injuries, and some of that stuff started to stack up because this is a huge drop-off from what we saw last year. I mean, other than digging deep under the whole hood and looking at exit velocities and launch angles and stuff like that, I didn't see much last year that I didn't like about owning Olson for this year. So to me, again, I was expecting a veteran who could do a lot of different things in that veteran lineup, who could then, of course, go over some of these bad streaks. I don't know. I honestly, even looking at it now, it blows my mind. Sorry, go ahead.
The entire Atlanta offense is not as good as last year. They're they had the highest WRC plus at 125 last year. Right now they're sitting at 104. They're 11th. Home runs, they're 16th tied for 16th with the Cubs at 61. Last year they had 307. They led the league in home runs by almost 60 home runs. It was 58 home runs over the next best team. It's incredible. So, yeah, it just this whole offense sort of has like a hangover from last year, and just it and now you mix in the Acuna injury. Not that he was doing great things this year, honestly. It's just I don't know. I mean, honestly, Ozuna is really the one offensive player on that team that you can sort of count on, which is weird to say.
Super weird.
Yeah, it's I was
either.
I was trying to get Olson in a couple of drafts. Like, I had him last year on a few teams, was like blown away, and just wanted more of that. Like, it was that recency bias setting in, and I am glad that I do not have him right now. Well, I do in one, maybe two, but not anywhere near as many as I wanted. But he's just a dead spot. And looking at the position in general, average, okay, whatever. I it was between him and like Pete Alonso in a couple of drafts, and I went
playing well.
No, he is not. He is right there with him. They're like 4 points separating for average. Right around the same for homers and whatnot. I mean, Alonso's been a little better, I feel like, but not much. It's just so down. And you're looking at guys like, okay, Vlad, you figured it was going to be good, but he was drafted way later. Ryan Mountcastle, again, sucking the T to the O's here, has been awesome. Harper has been awesome. Christian Walker's been good. Freeman, you knew was going to be good. Sal Perez, okay, he's like crushing it again. So there's so many different options you could have gotten after a Matt Olson, and Ozuna's one of them. I mean, the biggest knock on him is because he's only DH eligible, so you're not really targeting him in many times, or many drafts. At least I wasn't. He wasn't even on my radar. I was just like, no. I get the team is good, this and that, but I just didn't have any faith in him at all. And I mean, I feel like I was kind of wrong. Like, I don't know if I feel like it's going to carry the rest of the season, but at this point, I mean, we're into June. He's still doing it. If he keeps his average up and he keeps hitting,
he had those couple of years, man, where it was just bad.
Yeah.
Batting average was dropping like a rock, and you're like, all right, whatever. Then last year was kind of a bounce back, and you're like, I mean, do we believe it? But you're right. When he came into the season with DH only eligibility, that really kind of threw him off my radar. I wasn't super interested. He seemed expendable on that team that could go a bunch of different ways, and then he just came out mashing. I don't want to get into it, but like honestly, another guy we didn't mention on this team who's probably even worse as far as draft value is Austin Riley. I mean, talk about horrible. Oof.
I have him on too many teams.
I mean, he was always every single year it was like, I don't know if I believe it. Oh, I don't know if I believe it. He'll be fine, but like I don't know if I believe it. This year it was like, all right, I'm in. Let's do it.
That's exactly what it was.
Done
I
it
was
too
like,
many years in a row, and then it's like,
giddy up.
Oh
man,
I suck. Just kidding, guys.
Yeah.
Pull the rug out from under.
I told you guys. I told you this would happen.
Yeah. So, that is it for the what did we miss? It's fun. It's fun to, I guess, make fun of ourselves a little bit. But
fun to reminisce.
It humbles us. We know we're not perfect.
But aren't we?
All right. So we don't have very many other topics. We wanted to keep it short, but this broke just a little bit before the show started. And I don't have a slide for it because of it, but I will bring up the tweet here. Luis Robert
Robert.
is the White Sox are actively seeking packages for Luis Robert per
Right.
John Heyman here. This is interesting. I mean, I'm not surprised, right? And the White Sox need to retool and rebuild quickly here. And if there's any player on that team that's going to get a big return, it's Robert, and they need to trade him while he's healthy, right? So
Yeah.
he's healthy.
Yeah.
Like currently, tomorrow it could be a different story. But he came back, smashed a home run already real quick. Like he's a super talented player. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, I'd be curious to see like who would go after him. I mean, obviously, like the top teams are gonna go after him, right? I mean, like, God, the Dodgers still need outfield help. Do they actually go get him?
But hold on.
Who could they?
Who does
Who
does he replace in the Dodgers lineup?
Outman.
Okay,
He's out, man.
Sorry.
well, the reason why they have another Cuban that is taking off with Andy Bagas, right? Who, 23-year-old they just brought up top prospect. But yeah, I agree with you. The Dodgers would be great because they have a bunch of great prospects. But could they get a rushing back? Could they get a Frasso? I mean, they have so many holes in Chicago. They would probably want to get multiple places here. So yeah, the Dodgers make a lot of sense. They have a ton.
You don't think Hodges or Jason Hayward get replaced? I know Hayward's defense, but like,
come on, Hayward is like a stud, bro.
You don't think that Luis Robert could come in and
oh, absolutely, no, absolutely
replace either one of them?
But
I would hate it. I really would. I would hate it. But
I think
it makes perfect sense.
The Dodgers make sense because they're deep enough that they could deal with Robert being out, and only playing two-thirds of the next couple games. But they're deep enough to do that, and I think they could totally do that. And also, he would fit perfectly in kind of that lineup. But at the same time, too, there's a couple other huge teams that would probably love to pick up a Robert that have that kind of that deep farm system as well. So I don't know. It's going to be super interesting. This is only the first part of it.
They've lost Acuna.
That's so yeah, that's the thing.
I would hate
Braves. That. The Braves make more sense to me than the Dodgers. They need something to kind of kick them up, but at the same time, we're not talking about a workhorse. We're talking about somebody who's so injury prone, but he's so good. So it's what are you going to give up asset wise? I mean, is this a guy that you give up your top 2-3 assets for that might play 60 games on the stretch, or
and you kind of wonder too, though, like if he goes to a better organization, that knows how to like
take care of him
and take care of
actually
his body, right?
Keep people healthy,
stay on the field, right? You know, because a lot of his aren't like they're not like ACLs and things like that. It's always like, oh, I've sore back. It's like little nagging things constantly, and sometimes those are hard. But like if you just know how to take care of your body, you can stay on the field more. Go to a team that's got better organization, better training staff. It could make it all the difference in the world for him. We know the talent is there. He's just got to stay on the field.
Well, yeah, looking at a lot of these like comments and stuff in the tweet, it's like, oh, welcome to Seattle, Philly. Okay, someone did say Braves ? I mean, I could see like Philly does need a hitting outfielder. It's weird to say that, but like the bottom of their lineup has actually been good at least this past Brewers series. And like they're getting some play out of Castellanos finally. If he starts taking off, that's even better. But it's just going to be another like, where do we put somebody? Like who's sitting? Who's the next man up? Because they're going to have that with him because he's going to miss some time. So I mean, I think he's a fit there. I don't know who in their farm system they'd be wanting to give up. I know they've got a handful of arms down there, starters, but with the way the guys are pitching now, do we need them?
I mean,
yes, but
I don't want to be too much of a homer, but we keep talking about the O's being able to trade some of their depth.
Yeah.
Well, but where were they?
Do they pull the trigger?
Yeah, I mean I think he would be a guy that you grab, and then you grab one of their pitchers too, right? You'd want it so you have your pitching depth and maybe a package deal there. But I think he's perfect for the Brewers, who have one of the top 5 farm systems, who are in first place right now, 5.5 games ahead of the Cubs. Nobody expected that. I think that would be a great way to bolster them. The Cardinals is another one, right? That's somebody who needs some young talent, needs somebody to kind of shock kind of the older team there into place. And like you said, the Cubs too. I think the NL Central would change like crazy if this Robert trade went down for in that. And I think the Cubs and the Brewers definitely have the assets to do it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be definitely something to keep an eye on here. But yeah, with that being said, let's move over back to our slides here, and we're gonna have
you don't like my tweet
of the day. So let's just go back to Twitter, because I should just stay there, I guess. But gotta pull the slide up because I made it, so might as well use it, right?
I love this tweet.
Dap, you are in charge of this, so you found this fun tweet about Isaac Paredes.
Yeah, so Isaac Paredes
being the funniest player in baseball.
Yeah,
this is his home run spray chart
for his career. Obviously not this year because that would be a ton of home runs, but for his career.
I mean, God, what happened to this one over here?
But look at that one right there in the corner, right? Even that one is not even that's not even left center. That's still left field. It's crazy, but at the same time, this guy has figured out what he does well. Yeah, he knows what he does well, and he's just I'm gonna pull the ball. He's amazing. He's definitely top 3 in his position.
Some of the comments though are really funny. That one home run deep right field must have been 600 feet.
Shut up.
732.
That's
the home run key.
That's the one. That's the whole run key one. It's really funny. But,
it's
yeah, dude,
that wall and those numbers actually don't matter.
Yeah, I was looking up something else that came across last week, and I was like, "Oh, we figured out the funniest tweet for next week. Done, sold. This is it." So I don't know how to pronounce your Twitter name, but you win the day, sir. You win the day.
Lystar.
Yeah, just stop. Just stop.
Bozo Lyra.
Just stop.
All right, ripping through the injuries real quick here.
All right.
And I know AJ, you wanted to talk about Manny. So then I saw him on the injury report and was like, well, here you go. You get to talk about how average Manny Machado has been. Manny Machado
don't remind me.
got pulled from a game a couple of days ago. Doesn't sound like it's serious, but
yeah, he didn't play today. So
yeah, just taking the day off.
See what happens with that. But yes, like you said, he's been quite average so far this year. I mean, fringe top 10 right now, so I guess it's below where you said you had him.
We're gonna talk about him being a good third baseman pick next year because his overall stats will be good, but it just feels like what Manny does now.
It's just hard. It's hard to own and watch, and have him on your teams right now. But some other guys.
Here, put on the IL-15 for right hamstring strain.
Yeah.
Should be back relatively soon. Already kind of throwing, so look for him to get back here. Trevor Williams. Never thought I'd be talking about him as somebody you. Honestly, you put him on the list, and I was like, Trevor Williams, what? And I was like, oh,
he's been good.
He's been pretty good this year.
Yeah.
Just kidding. But he's gonna miss at least a couple weeks. We got Blake Snell back on the IL.
Came back for can of corn and then is back at it. Yeah, it's you know what? I'm on way too much of a pace to actually play some games this year. I can't have that on my Fangraphs page. I'm gonna need this bee hive thing to just fall on me, or whatever it is. I don't know. He's making stuff up at this point.
Yeah. Andres Munoz is a very bizarre injury for me. Yeah. So he had a collision at home plate, and so you're thinking oh, all right, that's the injury, right? He got injured because of that. Turns out he actually might have been dealing with a back injury for quite some time, and this is like super aggravated it. So who knows what's gonna go on here? But if you have Munoz, you are going to be looking for save help somewhere else. It sounds like for maybe a while. So not good there.
I don't like this one.
Corey Seager, we expected that.
Yeah, George Murphy is asking here. The first one, who's the top superstar of the year?
Ranger Suarez.
Clearly, AJ.
Me. Podcast superstar or baseball player?
Top superstar of the year. I'll answer that one.
Who just won
Bobby Witt,
the Masked Singer? Who just won the Masked Singer? Did that just end? I don't know. That's the superstar.
Superstar of the year.
It's so tiny. It's not even
okay. Let's go. Chapstick. Come on, Chapstick. Sing us a song.
All right. Corey Seager put up lame running the first. I like this comment. AJ, this is you. Should be okay, but it also could be 6 months.
No, that's not me.
Corey
that was me.
That was me. I love it. Can't take credit for it.
Jack Flaherty, I mean, in this Renaissance season, just way better than we ever expected. Abreu, right? This is definitely not something we expected it, right?
I don't know. Like I put him on here and like purposely moved him down a bunch of slots because I was like, there's gonna be more important people we're gonna have to talk about.
Well, Abreu was being picked up in a lot of places, especially with that.
He was solid, and I kind of
way better than I expected
on him. Yeah.
Yep.
And good speed.
Let it ride, and then I dropped him, and thankfully did not use my number one waiver to like get him back, and then he immediately went on the IL. I'm like, man, I have 2 open IL spots I could have sat him in, but okay. Jack Flaherty, back tightness, getting backiotomy, I guess. Him and Mew.
Backiotomy's always good.
We're getting spammed in the comments here, and it's very weird.
Nice.
It's mostly people asking about if Joe's single.
The answer is no.
She put a ring on it.
A nose ring on it. I don't know either. You lose all cool points.
Yeah.
I know I did. Sorry.
Just don't ever quote Beyonce again.
Unless you do the dance.
A country song.
Deal. So returning soon, we talked about it, Francisco Alvarez, and then Zach Eflin actually did return. Didn't do so hot the first game back, but kind of to be expected. He didn't actually go. He didn't have any rehab starts, so you knew the pitch count was going to be low for him. But let's finish off here with our fun question of the day.
Yes.
Dap, go ahead.
Oh, you can start with me. All right, so we have a whole list.
So I was going to let you ask it, but okay.
Oh, okay. What is your least favorite unwritten MLB rule? There's so many. It should almost be written somewhere. But what is your least favorite? Because it seems to be a new one every week.
So mine is the fact that players can't admire and celebrate their home runs, right? Unless it's like a game-winning home run, right?
Right.
They can't bat flip. They can't stare at it, and you can't kind of one up the pitcher, right? It's like, why the hell not? I think it's kind of changing, but not quite, right? I mean, like I'm looking at this, right? So Ellie, I'm gonna turn off the sound so I don't get in trouble.
I was like,
Ellie De La Cruz, right? Those a little bat flip at the end, man. But I want to see like the Japanese and KBO, like, dude, those guys know how to bat flip, man, and it is awesome to watch. It's entertaining. We want to get the younger generation back into baseball. We got to make it flashier. Enough of this old man baseball crap. Just let's have fun. Well, even the NFL is letting them celebrate again. Like, come on, baseball, figure this out.
Well, here's the thing real quick on that, right? Is I never understood how long can you admire the ball? Like what? Like if you just look to see where the ball's going, like you don't know if the ball's gonna be a home run, right? If I look to see where the ball's going, that's admiring. But if I don't, I mean, like that's just it's so subjective. I hate that. But yes, absolutely, I hate that one. What?
You ever seen this?
Oh yes. I was gonna actually say that one too.
Walk bat flips and he throws it into the crowd.
But no, it's not the same. It's not the same game, man. But I hope you know that, right?
Oh my gosh,
it's not the same game.
Hilarious.
It's yeah.
I know. That's too funny.
Okay. All right, AJ, what is your favorite unwritten rule?
So
or least favorite. Sorry.
I don't know if this works or not, but I just posted the best bat flip of all time, and Joe will hate it. But I mean, looking at these rules here, the one that just annoys the hell out of me.
I'm not showing that one just for that exact reason.
Loser.
Nope.
It's Joey Bats, of course, the bat flip of all bat flips, where he crushes a 3-run homer and then just goes off. He basically dabs while he's bat flipping. But do not assist a member of the opposing team. Like if somebody gets beamed in the face or whatever, like it's called sportsmanship, people. This is like the first thing you're taught in baseball as a kid. And now they're just drilling it back out. Nope, sorry, he's on that team. Don't touch him. No. Let him die on the field. Who cares? Not our problem. I mean, what the hell is this? Like, I don't know. That one just annoys me. I don't know if it's necessarily my least favorite. That's just like petty
as a coach
BS.
of a bunch of like little league and like youth soccer teams. It's that's not a good one to like. Hey, this is the unwritten rule in baseball, but you still have to tell these clowns over there, good game, even though
exactly.
you hate them.
I mean, I like that there's a bunch of like, well, don't do this if your team is comfortably ahead. Don't do this if your team's already ahead by a significant amount. It's like, you know what? F you. I'm going to get my damn stats. I don't care. They put an outfielder in to pitch. Yeah. Like, not my problem.
Who was it? The White Sox guy a few years ago drilled like a home run against like a positional player that was pitching, and they were up like 17-2.
Yeah. It's like, look, if you're throwing meatballs, I'm gonna get some spaghetti.
Even his own manager
and hit this.
Was like, yeah. So about that,
just like,
well, yeah. So I mean, my problem with the unwritten rules, my one is all about we're talking about professional baseball players. They're getting paid typically millions of dollars, and I mean, honestly, if you're showing me up with a no-hitter, I'm going to do everything possible to break that up. I mean, why would I want my name next to, our team gave up this guy's no-hitter? Well, I'm going to bunt. Why not? I think it's so stupid that I can't bunt. Also, the thing about not being able to steal when you're up a significant amount. What is a significant amount?
So
we've seen huge comebacks. 6, 7, 8 innings. Maybe our bullpen sucks. I don't care. Like, let them right up score. If you don't like it, then get them out, dude. Like, seriously, I hate that part. I can't stand because there's no set thing, right? Like, 5 runs
rules,
too much.
And you're right. Any of the rules here, and there's a ton of them that are like, basically, don't play baseball if. Like, it's so dumb. It's like, don't be competitive in your game. I mean, don't swing at the first pitch of the at bat if the pitcher has allowed back-to-back home runs. Screw that. Make it back-to-back home runs. Like, who cares? Like,
I mean, what better time to jump on the next pitch when the guy's completely lost his damn mind?
Don't swing when you're on a 3-0 count when your team is comfortably ahead. Like, nope.
Yeah.
You're gonna throw one right down the middle? I'm crushing it.
Right.
Never understood that. Like,
love this one too. Like, oh, hey, for the pitcher, if a pitcher's removed from the game in the middle of an inning, he must stay in the dugout until the end of the inning. Wait, where the hell is he going to go? Take a shit? Like, go to the dugout or go to the behind the scenes, pitching box and start throwing more balls? You're out of the game. What does it matter? Like, sit there, watch your team. It's your fault that you're out of the inning. So, like, what the
You
hell is
sit
that?
here and you watch the mess you made.
You know what? You sit your ass down and you watch what's going to happen here. This guy's going to go in and he's going to pitch much better than you.
And look, he's executing like we told you to.
Yeah. No more back talk. Sit and watch. It's like me talking to my kids, I feel like. But also, the pitcher should not indicate displeasure if one of his fielders commits an error. Well,
so basically, don't be Tom Brady on the field when your lineman allows a sack.
Now that one I get because of one thing, right? Like, as long as you're okay with them getting mad that you just walked a dude, then as long as it's fair play, cool. Then absolutely show your emotion, but you better be okay when you just give up a game tying home run and they're like, God damn it.
Yeah, exactly.
Correct.
Yeah, pulling a Bob Barker, flipping his freaking golf club, saying how much you suck. But that one, like the thing that I would agree with the pitcher on that is if it's the bottom of the ninth, 2 outs or top of the ninth, whatever, in a home game, and it breaks up a perfect game. Oh, I'm showing some damn emotion with that guy. Like,
or blows the game, right? I mean, like,
you are getting all the displeasure stared down right at you, sir. You F this up for me, and I could have been on a short list.
AJ, that should be a Tinder profile. All the displeasure. Come down to where the displeasure is.
Swipe right for all the displeasure.
Come, baby. This is Displeasure Town.
Yeah. Displeasure Town.
I'm dying here. All right, we're gonna end with that. We're gonna end with
Displeasure Town. That's my baseball name.
I'm gonna change my my team names to Displeasure Town.
I'm selling tickets.
Yeah, no more mustache rides for me. It's straight up Displeasure Town now.
Sandpaper rides only.
So we're bringing back the Hall of Fame tracker. Surprise!
Oh no!
Yeah, you joked about it. I'm doing it.
Why?
I'm doing
Love it.
I wanted to bring this in. The Paul Skenes Hall of Fame tracker.
We should just add a different thing to the mustache every time.
We're gonna get banned. So this logo,
speaking of free mustache rides,
what's on top? Is courtesy of
she's on top, right?
The people who run our store. I can't even think of
what. What are you selling here, sir?
No.
I thought this was
meth.
a PG show.
He's selling meth.
Okay,
so
acceptable.
DC4L Custom Tees runs our store.
Oh, they didn't pay for that promo, did they? Because that was terrible.
They made this shirt.
Yeah.
That has the Skenes logo on it.
And with the woman,
his girlfriend on the top.
The guy whose name you just butchered, or Skenes?
The running joke of every time that we talk about Paul Skenes, we've got to talk about. We got to bring up Livy Dunn. But yeah, so we had the joke Hall of Fame tracker for White Langford and your boy Victor Scott there, Dap.
Who's making it back?
This one actually might be legit. No, I'm not letting you bring that up. 27 innings pitched, 3-0 record, 38 Ks, 3 earned run, or 3 ERA and a 1 WHIP. I mean, like, perfectly even 3-1 too. Like, that was actually kind of incredible. I had to look that up and was like, is that for real?
And he struck out Ohtani. He didn't give a home run up to Ohtani, but he struck out Ohtani
first, and then he struck him out on 3 consecutive 100+ mile-per-hour pitches. Like, just unreal.
He's must-watch TV. I mean, honestly, there's I don't think I can think of just a couple pitchers off the top of my head, and Skenes is one of those guys that just looks like he just doesn't care. He's just gonna pull back. To me, he's like Strasburg when he first came into the game. Like, I mean, when he first came up. I mean, he's
the hype
fun to watch.
There.
Yeah.
Yep. So
all right.
I forgot about this. I'm not gonna lie.
I need to go back a second here. A second here to the Displeasure Town. What is the best way to grammatically show this? Do I do dis in parentheses pleasure town? Is it Displeasure Town?
Well, I think it'd be better if you had dis in parentheses and Pleasure Town, because then you have Pleasure Town and you'd have Displeasure Town, and you could make it.
That's the way I like it.
Like, for example, Livy Dunn looks like she's going to Displeasure Town on that mustache. So
Yeah.
that's why it's not.
Yes. Or should I be fun and not use parentheses?
And we're
Just
done.
use
What have we
brackets?
missed?
Victor Scott's really picking it up in the minors.
No, I'm not letting you tarnish our good name, sir, again.
Kevin Biggio is not playing, thank God.
Ding. I put that banner up. There we go, 13. I put it up on the so we don't have to go searching for it. Put it where we could find it. So anyway, that's it for the show, everybody. Want to thank you for watching and listening. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, follow, leave those 5-star reviews. We appreciate it. And tune in next week when we're back for more fantasy baseball action. See you all later.
Bye.